Let me know we're live.
Well, zippity doo dah day.
Ah, shit. I was not expecting that.
Oh,
You know,
good time.
before we went live, Eric was like, "Oh, what should I say?" Since you called me out on saying, boom. And I was thinking of something. I was just gonna say something right when he said we are going live, and he hits me with that shit. Oh man.
Well, it's a wonderful day because we
Oh
get to
yeah.
talk about Valiant comics. So, zippity doo dah day.
We don't have very
Um,
much to talk about Valiant comics. There's not really there's like really no news. Um, one tiny little thing before we get into our review of Ninja K 10. I was looking at the Humble Bundle that they're doing for Valiant, and it ends up being like 150 books, according to their math. Somewhere around the ballpark of 150 books. So it's like about like a $450 value for like 15 bucks or anything like that. But they've already raised like $3,200, which is pretty cool. Just doing the Humble Bundle. I don't know how many people who are doing it or people who are new to the company who've never read Valiant or people who are just like another Valiant thing, sign me right up. But I think it's really cool that they've kind of been able to raise that much money because I know that they're trying to have the proceeds go to the Keep Abreast Foundation. So that's pretty cool, And there's only a couple more days left. So if you're going to do the Humble Bundle, you may want to step up and get to it before it's no longer available.
yeah, definitely recommend supporting that. You get a lot of books and support Valiant, support Humble Bundle, and support a charity. So,
Yeah,
um, man. So yeah, we've really just got the one comic book to talk about.
yeah.
Um, I read it like an hour ago, and what did you think of Ninja K number
So I
10?
like, I really like this. I think like writing wise, the story is continuing on par with what we've seen previously. This was a really great one in like done in one issue, focusing on Ninja H. And Ninja H was a guy who was created about 30 years ago. He's the victim of some like an IRA bombing on like his first like one of his first missions. Really just fucked his life up. He they show him in the hospital with limbs missing, and part of his getting assigned to being in the this ninja program, he signs his life away pretty much with MI6. So they end up uh, making him into like a cybernary ninja, and it's cool because he's got a lot of abilities and all that. But then he finds out, shortly after that, there's something wrong with him, and he thinks it's an AI that's uh, taken over him. But it shows, and eventually, like throughout the way the issue plays out, maybe it's not an AI. Maybe it's just like his, just him himself, kind of leading him on this like violent path, where he's not necessarily like a good soldier. But I loved the issue personally. I thought it was great.
Yeah, to me, when I read the preview of Ninja K11, I got so excited for that issue that I was like, man, Ninja K10 is going to be kind of a bummer because it's just filler in between the last arc and the next arc that I really want to get to.
Real quick before you proceed on that, I actually thought the same thing because I didn't see it. I didn't look at any previews for issue 10. So the fact that they already had an issue 11, I was like, oh man, like maybe that means that the issue's gonna stink.
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely where I was at. I thought that yeah, it was just going to be a throwaway. But honestly, like, I thought that it did a really good job of introducing Ninja H, Ninja.
Ninja,
Yeah, I think that's how you pronounce it, is
ninja,
Ninja.
ninja. Oh yeah,
Ninja, man.
just sit around listening to Bob Marley, just smoking some woola, some fucking hookah.
Yeah, that's what Ninja is all about. No, but I think that, like I said, it was really well done introducing him and kind of putting him through some stuff that I think that one of the most interesting things that this comic does is it sets up for him to be able to come back in almost any way in the future. Um, I think that there's a good chance that he could come back and actually be controlled with AI now, right? Like, because one of the things Ninjak was saying is like, the AI back then was nothing. There's no way they could have programmed you, blah blah blah. The AI is better in my throwing stars, and I think that points out that there is possibly the technology in the present day Valiant world to turn Ninja H into an actual, cyborg AI controlled killing machine. And I think that would make a really cool villain for Ninjak. So I would be totally down with him coming back.
Yeah, I felt the same way, and to me, I kind of got a little bit of the vibe of like maybe not to you because I don't know how much of Superman you ever read, but to me, like this guy came off as like cyborg Superman. He was cyborg Ninjak, and he's got the same abilities. He's the kind of guy who could have more abilities just because he is a cybernetic ninja. He's got very little humanity left in him because he's like all of his limbs are gone. But you make some good points there where it's like he could come back and he could play either side of the field where it's like maybe they do put an AI in him. Maybe he now understands what's wrong with him and he sees that maybe a little bit of an error in how his behavior is. Maybe he takes steps to fix that, or he's just gonna break out at some point or get released again, still be a villain. But I just have to give a lot of props to Christos Gage on this. I just cannot believe like how great this series has still been. Every single issue, introducing new concepts into this and new characters, and it works. Every single thing he does works. I feel like.
So Jason's commenting in the live chat about Jason Falter about the issue was kind of meh for him because the art was wonky. We came from a major arc and then had a one and done, and that he thinks felt kind of thrown together, and he wants to get back to the main story arc of the comic as a whole. And
Which I think that happens next issue though. I mean, I think like
yeah,
the main overarching thing with like I guess at this point now the main story arc just becomes hunting the Eternal Warrior though, right?
yes. Yeah, that's the obvious thing that needs to happen. And I totally like that's how I went into this comic, was kind of thinking that like, this is just going to be filler before the next one comes out. So I kind of get where Jason's coming from. He also felt like the first thing that he said, that it was the art was one of the things that really threw him off. Um, but
I really like the art personally. For people who don't know, I mean, like the art was done by Larry Stroman, inks with Ryan Wynn. Um, so I mean, like he's not an artist I don't think anyone is really familiar with inside Valiant. I don't think he's ever worked for Valiant, like in any iteration of the company. But I know for like me, like I'm really familiar with his work. He did X Factor under Peter David. I love his art style. And one of the things that I think about him working on this book is that having Ryan Wynn do his inks, I feel like gave it a little bit of like a Trevor Harrison look to it. A little bit like on the faces, I felt like at times it reminded me a little bit of like reading Divinity, just because of like how Ryan's inks over Trevor Harrison's pencils kind of make some of the facial expressions look. Oh my gosh, I can't talk. Facial expressions, how they appear. That's kind of what I was getting out of it a little bit. But I really like the art, and I think a lot of times, an inker can kind of ground the pencils a little bit. I'm not sure what Larry Stroman's art is like anymore. It would have been interesting to see though, like some unpenciled, or I mean, some uninked pages. But I like the art, man. Like I don't know. I mean, it's all preference, but I
yeah, I think that any opinion on it, whether you liked it or disliked it, is reasonable. Personally, I wasn't a huge fan of the art. I don't think it was necessarily really bad, but it's not exactly what I'm looking for in a Ninjak book. Um, I think that there are books that his style would work really well for. I just don't think that this was necessarily one of them. I think this book would have been a lot better served with quite a few other artists. So I definitely get where Jason's coming from. But oh, I'm not reading that comment, Jason, because we're not going there. Josh,
what
I'm
is the
not even going to
comment?
tell you. No, I'm not reading it. So no. Um, but
You don't want to tell
oh
me what
God.
the comment is?
Uh, um, but No, so I wasn't a big fan of the art either. I think that there are a lot of artists that would have done a lot better and would have been more and not necessarily better, but would have been more appropriate for the material. I can think of a lot of artists that I think would have nailed this book. Like Kafu is one that immediately jumps to mind. Um, but even Steven
An
Seagal.
artist, one artist I think would have been awesome on this would have been Diego Bernard, because I just want to
Yeah,
see Diego Bernard come back to the Valiant universe. Um,
absolutely.
and I was looking through Armor Hunters over the weekend. I was doing a read of it, and those Exo Manowar issues, I was just like, holy shit! Like, where's this guy at, man? Like, and I mean, I like tons of artists. I'm really open minded to just various styles and all that, but like, man, Diego Bernard to me is just like perfect Valiant artist for like books like this. You know, he did the Siege at King's Castle. We both really felt strongly about that Ninja storyline,
Yes.
but in like his EXO work just looked great. You know, so to me it's
He
like,
was like my favorite Exo Manowar artist. But you
is he
know who
really?
would have been the perfect artist for it?
Who?
Who would have really nailed this issue? The artist who did the Blind Bloodshot issue. No, that's what
I
Jason was giving me shit about in the comments, saying that even though the art in Ninja K10 wasn't his favorite, it was a lot better than the
I
blind
tried to
issue.
pull up the chat on my phone because for some reason now all of a sudden if I click on a link for our podcast, it brings up the chat in YouTube, but I couldn't get it wouldn't let me turn the audio off, and so I was like,
Oh.
well, shit. If it's not one thing, it's another. You know, you try to do too much with a phone.
uh,
No, but
I
I did really like this issue, you know, and I like the cover a lot too, like the A cover. I think that's what it is. The A cover is just Ninjak. It's Stroman's pencils with Ryan Wynn's inks. I thought it looked like an awesome cover, you know. But I like issues like this because I like done in one issues, and I
I
want to
think
see
that
more of it when it works with the storyline, which I felt like this one did.
I think that there's value to that. I do understand when people get frustrated with it because they want to see the main story progress. But I actually felt when I got done with the issue, one of the biggest things in my mind was, you know, this was a perfect way to leave space between Dying One running off with Galad and then Ninja K or Ninjak actually, knowing where he is and finding him. Because I think it's reasonable to think that there would be time between those two things. I mean, the Dying One has been around for about as long as Galad has. So, he's going to understand where to go, what to do, how to kind of stay low, and then will only reveal himself when he's, ready to. And I think that's, what we're seeing in the next Ninja K issue, from the preview. But I think it makes sense to kind of leave this gap between them, and that gives it it makes sense in a lot of ways. Like it makes story sense actually, because I don't think, like I was just explaining, they wouldn't find him right away. And then I think it also makes sense as like a breather, like we had this last arc that was this huge thing with a team of heroes versus a team of villains. It was this big, huge, like almost event of an arc. And then, we get kind of a breather issue where Ninja gets to do something else, but by the end of the issue, it's already telling us we're right back into the thick of it. And this kind of now we're going to dive into Ninjak and Galad, and they've had a lot of history together prior to this. So the way that Christos Gage has been writing this character with a lot of respect for who he is, where he comes from, and the stories that have been told in this universe already, I think that oh, I completely lost my train of thought now. I don't know. I think it's going to be awesome. I'm really excited to see where he goes with the character. And oh, what I was going to say is, he's going to respect the relationship that Ninjak and Galad have had in all the previous stories and develop it with all the shit that's going on with the Dying One. So,
Yeah,
yeah, I thought that the way that this issue kind of bridged those two gaps and gets us ready to go is pretty perfect.
yeah. You know, another thing I want to mention real quick before we get into scores and things like that is something that I really liked about this issue was that there was it in the history of Ninja H, he had to fight hardcore. which I thought was awesome. And it took like three neural
Yeah.
spikes just to like take him down. Three constant or three at the same time. And I like that Christos Gage does use a lot more of just like the close universe in his storytelling. He's having people like Hardcore come into the book, or Ginger, or Dr. Mirage, things like that. Like it just makes it feel like it feels like in its own way a book that you'd read from like Marvel or DC. Because like a lot of those books just always have other people just stopping by, other people are helping out. You know, Sometimes Spider-Man needs Daredevil to help him. Sometimes Batman needs Robin or Nightwing and Batgirl and Oracle and whoever.
Superman.
Yeah. So there's always team ups and things like that. And sometimes you don't really get that here. The universe feels really small sometimes. And to me, like when I read like a story like, the Coalition, it just makes everything feel bigger, more important, more vested. So like I like the fact that like going into the previous history of a character, it shows people that we already know about having to like take care of the mess. So I like the fact that like Hardcore showed up and like had fought Ninja H at some point. Just small little things like that really like add to like the overall enjoyment of a book.
No, I completely agree with you. I would contrast what Christos Gage is doing. It's kind of the opposite of the way Lemire went with Bloodshot. He kind of took this character and brought him off on his own, and then, with the exception of Bloodshot USA, pretty much every story that he told was Bloodshot kind of doing his own thing. And I know Ninjak and Punk Mambo were kind of around in Bloodshot Salvation, but their contributions were pretty minimal. Um, so yeah, really, other than Bloodshot USA, the entire Lemire Bloodshot run was about, kind of taking Bloodshot off on his own and turning him into something else,
Yep.
and yeah, giving him his own experiences, his own kind of rogues gallery, sidekicks, all kinds of stuff. Whereas, yeah, Christos is taking Ninjak in this direction that his sidekicks and his, rogues gallery are characters that we've already known or heard about or experienced and read before. So, yeah, I think it does, instead of expanding the universe the way Lemire did, he's reaching out and showing us the connections that are there to things that already exist. And I think both are necessary. We need stories that, like Divinity and Eternity, we need those stories that expand the Valiant universe and push the boundaries of what's possible in a Valiant book. And it seems like uh, from the interview that I read with Jody Hauser, Faith Dreamside is going to be like that too. It's kind of taking things in a different direction that nobody's gone. And yeah, I really, like I said, I really value both of those things. I'd love to get back to, Harbinger Wars 2 has been fun, but I'd love to get back to stuff like the original Harbinger Wars or the Valiant and Book of Death, and the way that those brought the universe together and made it feel like super connected.
Oh
That's
yeah.
why we need a new Unity book. Damn it.
So, I feel like score wise, my score on this was pretty high. And I was trying to remember what I scored it, but Outright Geekery, where I wrote a review for, the shit wasn't working when I tried to check it out tonight. But I believe I gave it a 4.5. And the only reason why I wouldn't give it a 5 is just because of the art, but I love the story so much. And I like the art. I mean, like I didn't have it, like I said, I praised the art enough on this review here, but that was like my only little weakness to the book because I thought like it wasn't Juan Jose Reap. Like it was just a preference thing where like I got spoiled. I get spoiled a lot with his art because I do like it so much and he's been all over the place. But yeah, 4.5, man. Another great issue. This book just keeps on like trucking along and it's doing its thing and it's doing it good pretty well. And I still think even after this issue, best book Valiant has.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think that this is probably the best book that I'm reading right now, um, especially now that Killer Be Killed is done.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I absolutely love Ninja K. I think that this has been a really solid 10 issues. Um, it's gotten better and better as it's gone. I think that we've seen that this book does really well with one-shot issues. It does really well with full arcs. The scope of this is I remember when there was the Unity book still going, and one of the things that I remember you saying a lot, Josh, and that I definitely have agreed with is that the Unity book felt like sometimes the scope of the problems weren't big enough, you
Mm-hmm.
know? Whereas I feel like this Ninja K book it feels like it's dealing with more than a solo book really could reasonably be expected to deal with. And that's part of what makes it so good. But it makes me want to see Christos Gage write a Unity book because if he can do this with a solo character, what would he do if he knew he was writing for a team? And, what could he do to connect and maybe also grow the Valiant universe himself? And yeah, I think that that would be amazing. So anyway, coming back to this book, my score comes in at just a hair lower than yours. I'm at 4.25. I think that this is a really, really good book. Um, that's an 8.5 out of 10. I think that's a really, that's a high
Oh yeah.
score. I really did like this book. I would very much, yeah, I would very much recommend it. Jason's saying that he agrees it's the best book that Valiant's putting out, and it's part of why Harbinger Wars 2 isn't as well received as it could be because it's not even the best book Valiant is putting out.
Yeah, like man, like I to me though, I feel like Harbinger Wars, if you give like another reread to it though, it gets a little bit better. And I thought like that last issue was like a lot of fun. There's a lot of stupid fun to it. But yeah, I mean I know that it hasn't been as exciting as say like Harbinger Wars 1, but I think a lot of that too though is that the universe was so new that when things happen, it's just like holy shit, this is like the approach that Valiant's gonna have, like seeing like how hardcore was reintroduced after so many years, already ready to kill like these brand new Gen Zero kids that we had just met. But and so this time I feel like that kind of scope is different. It's way more like Civil War to me, like Marvel Civil War. But it's still fun, man. I'm like, I've approaching like the first two issues of it. I kind of left each issue like, yeah, I liked it, but like I had a lot of problems. And this last issue, I was like, it's kind of fun, like it's kind of just letting loose. So I just hope it ends really strong though, because I do feel like, and I think I said this before, if this was a book that someone picked up because they weren't familiar with Valiant, I feel like they'd be really confused. Like I think they would just be like, "Where's the bad guys? Who are the bad guys? Um, are there bad guys? This is just hero versus hero in this universe." But yeah,
Um, okay, one thing I wanted to address, Jason was saying, is that he hopes that they do a sequence in the Bloodshot movie that where Bloodsquirt shows up. And because the movie was already written before Bloodsquirt was created, I think that's unlikely, but he does bring up a good point that movies do change in production.
oh yeah, definitely. Like I don't think we any of us know what could happen with that movie
Yeah.
because this is the first thing that Valiant's done, and that stuff was written kind of before like Valiant was even going again. I mean, I don't think Valiant had anything going publishing wise for another year. So everything that they were doing was off of like the old Valiant universe and Acclaim, and the fact that now you have Dinesh added to the mix. You have 50, 60 issues that have been written now of Bloodshot. There's a possibility that there's going to be things that they're like, okay, we can change it here. We can add these things, change this. We can add that. I think there's a decent possibility. Plus, I felt like Bloodsport was fairly well received. He wasn't annoying at all. I didn't think so. I don't know. Hopefully there's things that modernize the story. But we're just so early. I can't even believe we're even talking about it when
Yeah.
nothing broke this week on Bloodshot.
Hey, we didn't bring it up. Jason brought it up. I'm blaming it all on Jason.
Man,
Um,
that reminds me though, real quick, talking about that. And I know you don't follow Twitter, so maybe this won't even like be entertaining to you at all. But like Dinesh posts pictures, from like the set, and they have like surge protectors and extension cords that have like bloodshot set written on them, you know. And he's like, and he takes pictures of this shit. He's like, oh, that stuff's coming home with me. And then like somebody, I can't remember who it is, and I apologize. They follow our podcast. I wish I could remember your name exactly. I feel like they changed their name enough that I can't always remember it. But they did like a drawing of Dinesh stealing all the extension cords, and it was pretty funny. Like it was just they drew like it was just a funny drawing of like Dinesh
I
stealing all.
saw it.
Yeah,
That was hilarious.
but I can't remember his name, and I apologize. I wish I could remember, but it was good stuff. You know.
Yeah. No, I saw that drawing and it was hilarious.
Hey, real quick, speaking of things you may have saw, did you see the preview for the first issue of the Agent storyline for Exo Manowar?
No,
Man, they have a preview out. We don't need to talk about it. We could have if you had seen it, but like it looks awesome, man. And for like the first time in a while, like in months, I'm really excited for an Exo Manowar story arc because it's definitely a book that's going to take place after Harbinger Wars 2. You can already see the effects of things going on, and it looks like it might be really awesome. And it's drawn by Juan Jose Reap, who I always just gush over anyway. So it looks awesome. But yeah, I'm definitely way excited for that next storyline to hit.
I'm trying to see if I can find. That's probably not the most up to date.
I had meant to post it on our Facebook page, but I did not because I saw it on Twitter as it was. And sometimes when you try to like copy a link from Twitter, it'll do like a weird Twitter extension when you try to post it into Facebook, and it doesn't work very well sometimes.
Sure.
But I mean, it's also on my phone when I do this shit. But
Yeah, if my computer was faster, I would be able to look this up and we could talk about it, but doesn't seem like that's going to be the case here because, yeah, nothing wants to work.
well, we tried.
I'm definitely looking forward to Juan Jose Reap. I remember seeing a little bit of art, a little bit of a art preview that looked really good. Um, but
The one where Exo is getting into the armor, huh?
I think that's what it was.
Yeah, they don't show that in the preview, so it's like 3 or 4 pages of other material.
I'm curious. Yeah, I don't know if I can find it. All this stuff that I'm seeing is just when the art came out.
Mm.
I'm searching to see if I can find this
I'd
preview.
say if you find Valiant's page on Facebook, it shows it, but it's
I think
okay.
I found it. I think I done found it. Now all my computer has to do is load it, so that's not going to be easy. But to get back to something else, Jason had said that he wants to see Harada come back and just rip the entire universe and come back with a vengeance. And
Agreed.
huh?
Agreed. Agreed.
I feel like we're going to see something like we don't know what Dysart's planning to do in terms of the story that he still has brewing. And then um, after that, I think that it's going to be a lot easier for future Valiant writers to use Harada because right now you can tell that it kind of ended, um, with more to come. And I think Dysart is really the only person to tell that story. Once that story is told, though, I think that it makes more sense for another writer to come in and use Harada, and it would be great. It would be amazing to see him come in and, have a big impact in the universe again.
Yeah. I think they could use him in small doses though. Like if they had like a 2 page or 3 page thing where maybe in the aftermath of Harbinger Wars 2 it shows him like saying some shit or, reacting at least to what has transpired. That'd be nice. But yeah, I think like sadly, I think we're not gonna see him until Dice Art's miniseries ends. But if you follow Miko Swain on Facebook or and even Kathu, I think too, because they're both doing stuff with it, like covers or interiors. It looks awesome. It looks so awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking at that preview right now, and I'm not going to be able to sit here and read the whole however many pages. It's not a ton, but it looks amazing.
Yeah,
Looks like it really focuses on Colonel Capshaw, which is cool because I think she's
yeah,
an awesome character, and some people have been saying that they want to see her have her own ongoing. But I think a better thing to do would be to do a Unity book and kind of base it around her, right?
Or you can give her a zero issue. Like, I mean, like
Sure.
I like that kind of stuff too. Especially on these months where we don't get a lot of books, where we only get like six. Throw in a zero issue. Where we get to like explore her. But I mean, again, this is going to turn into the same shit I say all the time, where it's like, give us a zero issue of like Tama, give us a zero issue of the Armorines. Like, there's characters that like we could have more stories of, and sometimes it stinks when it's like they're just a supporting character in the background. But like, I feel like somebody's got to have like a story out there where they're like, yeah, I have a whole story about like Capshaw that's interesting. Like maybe like Matt Kent does or Robert Venditti because Venditti used her so much in Exo. But
I
I don't
just
know.
I feel like the best thing for her would be another Unity book. And then you could even have a Unity zero issue that is all about her, you know?
You could do that
And
too.
you could have her be at the center of the Unity team because she would kind of be the one running it, you know? She's the Charles Xavier to the X-Men, right? So there's no reason why you couldn't do a Unity book and make her a really, really big, important part of the story, and then still have, Livewire, Bloodshot, Galad, Exo Manowar, Ninjak, any number of other. You could have a rotating cast of characters, and it could be absolutely amazing. You wouldn't even need to have the same any of the same team members from arc to arc, because it could all just center around Capshaw and her fighting the biggest threats that the world
Well,
has to face.
that depends. If we don't have a Galad book by then, let's make Galad like the centerpiece of a team, and then
Yeah.
also have Capshaw, but like get Galad back. And I think we're getting there. I think we're getting to the point where at least he's gonna be back in the folds of the Valiant universe, kicking some asses and things like that. But I think for me it just stinks like with how good I found Wrath to be that he doesn't have a book. But you know, the story of him is still very interesting. Like even where he's at right now, possessed by like someone else, like it's still interesting. It's still really good. I just hope that maybe next year, at some point, we get something that's either him or Armstrong, just something with those guys. But
No, I
I don't
totally
even want to talk
agree.
about it anymore because I feel like I go off on it all the time on here.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. Definitely. Um, Jason wants a zero issue of the garbage man slash maintenance worker guy in the last issue of Bloodshot Salvation.
Oh yes. Well, yeah. I mean, like that guy's obviously got a story. Like there's got to be something about that dude that like
I
just
think I
random
think
guy that just gets shot in the head.
I think the reason he becomes anything is because 4002 Bloodshot takes him and is going to heal him. And maybe since 4002 Bloodshot is really just a cloud of nanites, maybe he'll just inhabit that guy's body. And that'll be the new 4002 Bloodshot.
Maybe that's actually a really interesting idea. As far as
Huh?
like that's a good concept idea, like right there, man.
Did I just come up with a crazy theory time?
I think you did. Yeah, that's a great crazy theory. Like he no longer wants to just be a nanite cloud and a plastic head, so he just takes over that dude's body before he like totally is snuffed out. That would be interesting. I
Yeah.
would say though, like maybe what they could just do for like his zero issue is just like him thinking about shit before he's shot in the head. All the variant covers are just him getting shot in the head. It'd be awesome.
Just shot right through
Just
the head.
super violent covers of a guy getting plugged in the head, living in a sewer.
Head
Fucking awesome. I'll buy all four.
all by all. Yeah. Do like a big connecting cover of his head exploding.
Of just cranial pieces and bone and sinew and maybe like an eyeball on like the third cover just like flying through the air.
Oh man.
Didn't they do
Um,
something like that though for Reborn where it was like a bullet being shot and it was like the other like two, three, and four's covers were just like the people being shot at in the connecting cover. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
there is a Bloodshot connecting cover set where it's like, yeah, it's like someone shooting and then the bullet travels, and then on the last one, it's a big red circle getting shattered by the bullet.
Oh, okay.
I have those hanging up downstairs in my
Oh, do
house.
you
They're
really?
on display. I think they're still on display. Maybe I took them down. I don't
How
know.
do you
I own those covers though.
how do you have those displayed? Like, did you get like a custom frame or how'd you do it?
Nope, I just had it all of them next to each other,
That's
as
awesome.
close as I could get, but obviously they're not like touching.
Yeah, because I always think like they make interlocking frames that you can post interlocking covers in, and I've only ever seen them for like three cover, like you could fit like three books in them. But I always somewhere in like my comic book room, I want to get Harbinger 7, 8, 9, 10, the interlocking Miko Swain covers.
Mm.
I want to get those framed just because I think it's such a really powerful image. It sums up Harbinger perfectly for me, like the good and the bad of it. And I just want to get it framed and put somewhere, but can't find a frame.
Yeah, I
And
don't blame you.
I just want to have them all together like that, though. Like I wouldn't want to do them separate.
Sure. So next week, we go from this one book week to a big week next week with Britannia Lost
High
Eagles
five,
of Rome. Huh?
Valiant high five.
We if only we were so lucky.
God damn it!
Um, we get Britannia Lost Eagles of Rome #2. I really enjoyed the first issue. I'm stoked to see more Robert Gill.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Quantum and Woody 9, which I'm also really excited for because the Elliot Rahal stuff has been phenomenal with this book. I need to get back in touch with him and get him on this podcast. Maybe I
Before he
can try
gets
to
too
see
big,
huh?
you need to do it before he gets too big.
Yeah, I know, right? Before he's too cool for us. But yeah, I've loved what he's done. I thought the last issue with Joe Eisma on art was really good, so I'm excited to see more Joe Eisma. And then we also get a third book next week in Shadow Man #6, and I think that Shadow Man has been the second best book that Valiant is putting out right now, and that makes me very excited to get another issue.
Yeah, is I like it a lot. I would say it's the second best book, and just me being like a person who wants to see things kind of converge at some point into something. I hope he gets back to like the present day in his own body at some point soon, but who knows?
Yeah, we're not. They're only. I think this is the last issue of him going into the past. There's only 3 issues.
Okay, but it has been awesome. I think these little like one shot or what do you want to call them, one done in ones, they've been a lot of fun. They've been really entertaining, and I thought they've been awesome. So let's get this last one out of the way. I think it's one that's set like super far in the past.
See, I don't consider these issues to be one and done. You know what I mean? I don't consider them to be a one shot type of thing. I think that they are tied together into a bigger thing that's going on, and that's what we're going to see at the end of the next issue or as we move into the following arc. I think we're going to find out how much Jack learned by going into the past and how a lot of that's going to affect what he does when he gets back to the present. And I think that, however he figures out to get back to the present and, his understanding of the different relationship previous Shadow Men have had to their Loa, is going to be something that I think that hopefully could play out. And yeah, I've really enjoyed what this book is doing right now, and um, I'm not I'm not anxious for it to end or anything. You know what I mean? Like to get on to the next arc. I think that what's going on right now is really good, and when the next arc does come, I'll also be really excited for that. So I don't know. I'm a
That's fair.
fan.
That's fair.
But yeah, fairly short episode today. There wasn't a whole lot of news or anything to talk about. Thanks to Jason especially for hanging out and chatting with us. I know there've been a couple of people on and off also watching here and there, which is cool. We definitely appreciate
Yeah.
um, anybody watching for any amount of time. Um, yeah, Jason says that we've got 6 more episodes to 100, so I got to get my Armstrong cosplay together, and you got to get your Archer cosplay together.
Oh man, is that what I have to be?
No, that's way too easy. If I got to do something Armstrong, no, I'm not doing this. I can't do it. I can't afford to
Why?
buy our
You
Armstrong
just have to buy
cosplay.
a fucking hat, dude. Like, don't you have like a big coat or anything?
No,
You got the beard.
I do have a beard.
You drink. You probably drink as we do this, so I
I
think like
sometimes have imbibed alcohol.
I'm just saying. I think you could pull it off. I don't know. We'll do something. We're gonna do something fun, man. I mean, we gotta
Oh,
get.
Hoodoo's jumping in saying he'll be the 1%.
He does. Yes, for anyone who doesn't know, I when I met Hoosier, like last year at Emerald City Comic Con, I didn't know him before, and he was this dude. He made like a golden bullhead, and he was dressed as one of the 1%. It was awesome. So do it. Well, we could do a very weird episode for 100 if nothing else, where we're all looking like something.
I don't know how I would cosplay Armstrong, but
You don't have to like act like him. You just drink. I don't know how Hoosier would talk though with that thing on his head.
yeah, that's true. Oh man, if you guys are trying to rope me into something, I tell you what.
I'm not. No, the only thing I want to rope you into is going to Emerald City Comic Con next year. But if you can't do it,
All
you
right,
can't do it.
you pay for it and we'll get there.
Oh, fuck. I had to get myself there.
Oh man. No. Again, I appreciate everybody watching. We'll see what episode 100 turns into. People are making I'm getting peer pressured here and I don't
I feel like we have to have it can't just be like a regular episode just because I feel like we've talked about it a little bit. We're gonna do something special, and now people are like, we want something special. We want you to
yeah.
do something. So
We
we're gonna do
we
something to make it like special. We'll do our
we
best.
clearly have to do something. We do still have a little bit of time. We're more than a month away.
Oh yeah,
Um uh
this is 94, right?
This is episode 94. Yes. So we've got six more episodes. Um, Hoosier says he wants to get Valiant and table at Emerald City.
I hope he's working on it because I don't keep up with Emerald City too much, but I'll be there. And if nothing else, man, we'll get something for the table, and I plan on being in attendance just because
Yeah.
like I have so much fun, and Hoosier and Chris Amundsen are two of my favorite. They're probably my two favorite people in the whole fandom other than Eric. So like I'm gonna be there. I can't wait.
If I win the lottery, I'll definitely show up.
Do some Powerball or something, man. I don't know.
Start buying lottery tickets. Um, but yeah, I mean, even though we only had one issue to talk about today, I really enjoyed that issue. I think that it's you know, it does a lot to show us implications for the future of what this title could be, what Christos Gage could do with the Valiant universe. Um, I think, like I said, I really want to see him write Unity, but I'm also really excited for, the next arc coming. And I'm excited for the books coming out next week. Again, Britannia, Quantum and Woody, Shadow Man, all going to be awesome.
I'm
So
very surprised at how much we were able to talk about Ninja K10 tonight.
I'm not. I was so jacked about this issue as soon as I read it. And like I said, I read it right before we did this. So,
I know.
um,
It's just sometimes like we'll talk about these. I'll listen to some of these reviews that we do, and they come off pretty short. So when I was thinking when we talked a little bit before the show, and I was like, "What do you want to talk about other than the book?" And you're like, "Well, I don't really have anything. I'm okay if it's short." I was like, "Shit," because if we don't have something to talk about, this could be like a 5-minute episode. So I'm really glad that how long it worked out.
no, we definitely have more to talk about with that issue. But yeah, again appreciate everybody watching, listening. Thanks, Josh, for the 94th episode here. Signing off. I am Eric Baumgart.
I'm Josh Rathman.
Boom.